Hello, welcome to another stream of Barren Planet, the second one I've done. Oh, hello, Lady Vivian. Thanks for the birthday wishes for Barren Planet. Yeah, it was 1 year old on Tuesday, but I wasn't well enough to stream Tuesday or Thursday, so it's had to wait till today for its birthday stream. So I hope you liked the PC Beeper music that we started with. That was what was playing here on the title screen. So my plan for today is I'll be streaming for about 2 hours like usual, and I'll divide it equally between the 3 campaigns that are out for the planets. No, it's not an original composition, it's Bach, or possibly his son, obviously also Bach. But yeah, it's been attributed to J.S. Bach, and it's a piece of monophonic organ music that just uses the pedals. So I transcribed that for this game because I'd like to try and use appropriate music for the setting, but nobody has written any music about spaceships and battling over distant planets. So yeah, I'll just use random classical for things like that. So yeah, let's get in, and we are not going to play Waterworld first. First, we're going to play First Landing. And since the last time I played this on stream, I played Nuvu Tech. I think this time I'm going to play Avuscorp. And I made the mistake last time of putting the computer on hard mode. And when I first released Barren Planet, I could handle hard mode, but I've made improvements to it since then. So I'm going to put it on fair mode, which is the medium one. Let's see how far I get. So I'll spend about 40 minutes on this one. I'm not going to get through the whole campaign. Yeah, here we go. So the introductions for the Avuscorp scenarios are a lot different to the Nuvu Tech ones. If you've seen the Nuvu Tech briefings, they're very corporate, very stilted. This is a lot different. Those thieving scoundrels at Nuvu Tech have the rise on our newest mining world, Dapra. We must accelerate our efforts to set up on the planet before they get there, and blast them off the face of the planet if they give us any trouble. That's where you come in, Commander. The boss likes your military record and thinks you might do better here than sat behind that desk of yours. First off, you need to seize the 5 crystal nodes at the landing site. We've given you a small force of light units to begin with. Expect more later. So you can see the crystal nodes there. They've got the little red baubles on them to denote that these are victory points. If you seize all of the victory points, you win the scenario. But it's unlikely because Avuscorp will, not Avuscorp, Nuvu Tech are going to most likely seize the ones at their side of the map, and you will have to kill them to take them back. And once you've killed the last enemy unit, regardless of victory points, that's also a victory condition for the battle. So the way this normally goes is that I end up in a slow battle of attrition to get rid of the enemy. But we'll see how it goes today. So I get the first move. So the first thing I'm going to do is take that victory position. We can reach this one this turn with these holobugs. But I'm not going to rely on the holobugs to keep this position. I am going to move a combat droid down towards it. And the fighters, I think I'm going to hold the fighters back. When the computer controls these fighters, even with the improved AI, it tends to just send them headlong first into the fray, and they're pretty fragile units. So they end up getting killed quite quickly. So what I'm going to do is not make the same mistake as the computer does. I'm going to bring the fighters in behind the combat droids. The fighters have got a firing range of 2, so once I string the combat droids out in a single line, I can sit the fighters behind them and fire over the top of them. So that's my move. I think that's everything moved, I'll just check. Yes, it is. And we've seized 2 of the 5 victory points already. So, done turn, and let's see what the enemy does. So, fire for options, we'll replay what the computer did. It looks like everything's barging straight forward, but it will actually take... Yeah, it'll take that victory position. So, a second turn of just moving forward. So this turn, once the hoverbugs are out of the way, this combat droid will be able to keep and hold that victory position. So I'm going to move these off. These hover tank, I keep calling them hover tanks. These hoverbugs can actually hover over this this magma flow, where the combat droids can't. So I'll move them there and stay behind there first, and I'll keep them in reserve. This guy goes down there, and then since we moved first, I think we may not be able to make it there actually. If Nuvutech sends their hoverbugs to take that, they'll get there before we do. Since that's what's likely to happen, I think what I'll do is I shall not try and rush headlong to get there first. I will move these one forward. These will go and plug the gap there, so it's in a nice straight formation. And then, like I said before, the fighters can move forward just behind the combat droids. That way, once these move forward enough to meet the enemy, the combat droids with a range of 1 can fire at 2 units right in front of them there, and these fighters can support them. That's a theory anyway, so let's see how that works. My aim is to hold on to my fighters for a bit longer than the computer normally does. But I think last time I played this, yeah, you can play it with 2 people, either hot seat at the computer taking turns at the keyboard, or you can send files to each other. Right, so yeah, they're about to take that central crystal node, and I think on the next turn this I forgot what it's called. This ground rover at the top there is probably going to attack something of mine, or it might be making its way to the crystal node. So we'll see. It won't reach the crystal node this turn. Yeah, it's much better with 2 people, but the challenge is finding 2 people who are willing to play and have the time. We only, even during testing, we only managed once, I think, to get a playthrough, and I think we only played through 1 battle and just checked that it successfully moved on to the next one at the end. So I'm kind of wary of the of using the using the play by mail option. But it worked in testing, but say it was difficult to get people to actually go further than just a quick test. So all of this lot's moved forwards. That stayed back there. And these again are going to stay in reserve. My plan for these is to wait for some more of these combat droids there to move up to the main battle, and then I can zip these across the magma river and hopefully take that when there's not so much there. In fact, I will shuffle them down a bit because there's a bit more room here than I thought there was. Yeah, this is why I make sure all my games are playable by one player now, because finding opponents is difficult. Right, I think that's everything done. So let's see what the computer does to this. Yeah, so that took that crystal node. I think all those units are trying to get past me to try and take the crystal node behind. But more fool them, because this means I get the first shots. So, right, I think what I'm going to do is bring 2 planes to bear against this. Yeah, the range of 2 really helps them here. And it's tempting to move that up onto there to block this, but that's not going to work because it can just go past me. So I'll just stick to doing that. This one can have a go at that hover bug. These 2 can have a go at that hover bug, and those can go there. And I won't advance this line yet until we've dealt with what's above and below. So let's have a look at this. And yeah, it's gradually moving its combat droids away from there. So we'll hold these down there and see if we get time a time we can attack. So don't turn again. So I think about 10 base games. Get a time for another sip of tea. That was interesting, that hover bug near the bottom there. Yeah, completely bypassing everything and going down to that crystal node there. It just like to make a beeline for the crystal nodes even when they're defended. So, right, we've got this behind us now, so I think what I'll do is I'll move these. These have got a movement range of 6. So I'll move that over there and fire upon this. Move that there and fire upon this. I don't think I'll retreat any of the combat droids to deal with this lot. I think the combat droids can press forward. And I'll actually move them diagonally forward. Oh yeah, I forgot that would fire back. If the unit didn't move on the previous turn, it gets to return fire. Although only once. Now the question is, should I move these forward a bit more? I'll move this forward a bit more, because it's in protection. I won't move this one forward because it will end its turn right next to the enemy, who can then fire at it. So next turn I'll start surrounding this enemy. Oh, I did forget there's these 2 as well. Ah! Right, do any of my units have movement points left enough to get on there? No. So next turn, that is going to occupy that, which will be a nuisance. But anyway, it gives us 1 extra plane now that I don't have to. I could maybe start attacking these, but I think this extra plane is going to move up there. Now the question is, should I have another shot at that, or should I have a shot at that one? I think I'll have a shot at the third shot at this, because I don't think I can one-shot the hoverbug. Oh, there was this to deal with as well. So this guy can have a go at you, and I'm going to retreat these. I'm glad I kept these back in reserve, bring as many units onto this as I can. Okay, so I didn't kill it this turn, but this can move around there and swing around the next turn if it's still alive. More and more units are leaving that one on its own, which is good. So let's done turn. Yeah, they're taking back that central crystal node. Right, so it's properly fighting against us this turn. Let's see what the damage was. Right, it's got 2 hit points left. And what about this one down here? This one's got 3 left. So I think I'll hold the line here. So first of all, I shall start dealing with this. So I move backwards away from that hoverbug. Goodness, this is taking some killing. I think I'm actually going to withdraw this. To help deal with that, and it's still not enough. Hopefully I should kill it on the next turn. It's taken an awful lot of hits. Right, now these. Attack that. Yes. And I have enough movement points with this one to get it into there and take that victory position. As you've seen, you can lose victory positions. They've lost that one, and I am in danger of losing this one. Oh yes, I've still got this one to deal with down here, so we shall go. Oh well, that's sorted. Now the question is, should I move these back to where I planned, back there, ready to spring over there, or should they support this? I think it's a bit too late to move those hoverbugs up there to support that, because if this falls next turn, yeah, they're going to take 2 turns to get up there. So I think these are going to go back here. And this one's used up its movement points in firing. So let's see what happens the next turn. Fingers crossed my combat droid survives up on the northeast, but I don't think it will. Yeah. At least the hoverbug went down south, which was a pleasant surprise. So that's going to come down and deal with this, for which I have adequate defences. Right, I don't really want to place a plane in there because that will just kill it in one shot. So I think my only option here is to just keep trying to destroy this thing. And I'm not doing very well at that. Now this could go up and meet the hoverbug. Yeah, I think that's what it will do. I think between my hoverbug and my combat droid over the next couple of turns we can probably deal with this. Oh dear, that one's nearly dead. So I think what I'll do with that is I shall pull that out and fire upon that unit. I won't send that one in, I'll send the unit that's in full health. to deal with that. Probably shouldn't have put all my firepower on there because that's protected in rocks. Right, question is, does that one fire on there, or do both of these go and attack that? I think what I'm going to do is I'll leave this one there, attack that, but this one will pull backward a bit and attack. Oh, that was nice. I wasn't expecting to kill it with one shot. Maybe I'd already softened it up on previous turns. So that one appears to be defending that. Yeah, and that's defending that. They never leave it completely defenseless, the unit that's on the crystal node. They always keep another unit to help. So I think everything's moved that can move. I've got a feeling I'm going to lose one of my planes next turn. Yep. Yeah, I knew that if that scout unit got right up next to the planes, it would fire at one and it can one-shot them. So, as a precaution now, that unit's going to stay there. I could actually leave that unit there and bring at least some of these planes towards the front. I might do that actually. Let's move that there. We'll just fire at that. Oh, it's dead anyway. That's good. So I'll temporarily bring a plane down there to capture that again. And this unit, that's at full strength, I think. I'll move this unit back, and this unit can go and hold on to that for a while. Right, you can fire on that. I hoped it would kill it, but it wasn't to be. You can fire on that. And then, since they didn't kill it, the third one can fire on it. Yay! I think we're getting the upper hand here. And I'll move this one back there, rather than having a long line at the front, because if any of these units have to retreat, let me just check the... Oh yeah, that one's not doing too well. If any of these units have to retreat, that one can move right up and replace it. You've got to remember that this one's moving up there. So, oh, we've still got that there to deal with. So, you can have a go at it, and that's done the trick. So that can move there into formation. And these four are ready. Oh, they've left that one alone. Oh, that's good. They don't usually do that. They've done the same up there. Yeah, they've done that. What you tend to find is sometimes it moves a unit away from there to go and help in the battle, and then it changes its mind and moves it back. And I suspect something might happen like that with this. So, but if not, if this unit stays alone, then next turn I can spring these across there and go and rush against that. So let's just check what units we've got here. Is anything... Well, that one's got movement points left. That's good. So this one can go back into the battle and help against that. And this one's already fired, hasn't it? Yeah, and that one's just moved there. So, done turn. I think there's still a change that I would make to the AI if I do any more development on this game, which I'm not sure if I will, but as you see there, that unit could have kept on slugging out with these, but it decided to go around there. Presumably it's on its way to try and take that, but I think when units are already engaged, they should stay engaged. So if I do any more work on this, or if I use this engine in another game, I might think about making that change. Right, all of this slot, I think, should shuffle down a bit. But only by one. They've only got 2 movement points, so if I move them by 2, they are not going to be able to fire. So I'll shuffle them down 1 this turn. And I'll shuffle this down. I won't attack that combat droid with the combat droid. I will attack it with one of these. And I'll keep harassing that as it moves, because this can keep up with it. This wants to head up towards there. So I'll get there the next turn. And then this, right, it can move up to there, but it won't be able to fire if it does so. So I'm going to move it there. And next turn, when this moves over that way, it'll be in range of my guns. And I think this unit is guarding that, but the odds are still in my favour if I spring across all 4 of these. So I think that's everything moved. Yeah, it's another unit that just went right past me. But it's not a winning strategy for the computer play, because I've got enough units to chase that and keep it entertained. But first of all, I'll do what I planned with this. Now this one can move out. Yay. Because that is within range to go back there. Right, so now all we've got to deal with is this unit here. So I think I'll move there where it won't be able to attack me, because it can go there and then there, and it's used up all its movement points if it decides it wants to attack the plane. That was dealt with easily. Yeah, I suspect that that was either going up here or it was going down there, and it would have probably ignored the plane anyway. So we can have 2 units on this and 2 units attacking that. Oh, that one's quite a bit injured, but I don't have any better use for it at the moment than to stay on the front line, unless I bring it back here. Yes, that's a good idea. Head back there, relieve this, which is in slightly better condition. Well, actually, it's in much better condition. And then this can go to the front and attack that. There we go. Right, now these, the question is, should these divert and attack that? I think one of them should. But first of all, right, whoever attacks this first is going to have return fire and some damage. Yeah, that's completely done it in. So we'll move that there. Yeah, I think that should move up there and attack this, and that return fire as well. And this one should just move forward 1. And then the next turn, these can all shuffle left by 1 and attack the unit there. But this one, if it survives, which is doubtful, should not attack first. So I think I've done all these. Yeah, all these are done. Keeping an eye on the time, about 10 minutes left on this, so we're not even going to get through the first battle. Hold fire for options, let's see what happened. Again, it's trying to send a unit straight around. That's interesting. Their hoverbug, I thought it would have attacked me with the hoverbug, but it's ignoring me. Right, let's see what we can do with this. So this should not... Oh, right, that's right. That was the one there that was weakened and it got destroyed. So, and because this fired last turn, it doesn't have any movement points left to return fire this turn. Oh, it's up on me. So that fires with impunity, that fires with impunity, and yeah, I think I need to send all three against this because it'll be picking them off one at a time. And this, nothing else other than this fighter can attack that hoverbug. So my hope is I soften it up before it gets down there. This can carry on moving down there to relieve that. We don't need these up there anymore. So one of them can come down here and have another go at this hoverbug. And the other one, I'll wait till the end of the turn with that one. Let's see if these can kill that. Yes. So it's no need to send this one to the front. So this can go down there. It's not going to go all the way. And this can also help to attack that hoverbug. So let's see how it goes. I have no idea what that combat droid is doing, the one at the top there. Maybe it's going up there, but I don't think so with the path it was doing. It might be going there, but yeah, I think that's maybe the most likely thing, is that it's moved up there to attack this. Right, you can have a go at that. I may as well send this down and have a go at that, but to no avail. So this one, yeah, good, that's dealt with that. Oops. And then these two fighters. Shall I wait and see how these combat droids do against it before I send any fighters against it? Yeah, they've killed it. I'm not going to send just a single combat droid against that, so I'll hold that there, I think. Yes, we've killed that, so I think what I'm going to do is send the weakest one of these down there. That can go there. And then these can start making the way. Oh, okay, if that unit's already moved, already fired. What about this one? Yep, that one has, so those are staying there. So, there's only one enemy unit left now. So, check for the weakest one. Okay, it's that one. Temporarily goes there. Start sending the other two up, ready. Oh, that one's already moved. Start sending everything up there. So it looks like this is near the end, which will actually take us quite nicely up to time. Okay, these fighters can head up towards there, because if they arrive before everything else, that's fine, because they can sit 2 squares away and take pot shots at that. I keep forgetting what these units are called. Ground rover, that's it. So I think everything's moved that can move, or that wants to move. What about this? Yeah, that one's moved. So, done turn. And yeah, the computer did absolutely nothing that turn, because it's just going to hold on to that last victory position with dear life. So let's attack there. It's not even going to move off there to attack these, because it knows that if it moves off that spot, then one of these will just go capture that last victory position and game's over. So since the computer has no concept of surrender, it's just going to cling on to there for survival as long as it can. So I will send this down there. I don't really need to keep these victory positions now, but I will do so. Just for the look of the thing. And start sending everybody else. Oh, not that one. These two. That's quite a strong unit up there. It's still a light unit, but it's got, let's have a look at it. Yeah, it's got 4 hit points, which is more than anything else, except I think these have got 4 hit points as well. Yeah. But these have got no armor. This one's got 4 hit points and 2 armor, although its attack is only the same as the combat droids and the hoverbug. Oh, that one didn't move, so that one can move up there. But I don't want it to be up there on its own. So I'll just finish this battle before I go on to the next. So these can take more pot shots at this. This can move up there, but I'm not going to put it right next to it. There is a chance that the fighters will take out that ground rover before anything else gets close. But we'll see. I doubt very much whether this combat droid will get up there before the battle's over. So we'll soon have 3 fighters against that ground rover. Right, so attack 1, attack 2, attack 3. Right, now 2 of these hoverbugs can attack, but I think what I'll do is I'll attack first with this healthy combat droid. Oh, it's the first time it's been able to fire back. And it caused no damage to my combat droid. That's nice. And that's it. The battle is over. Great stuff. The boss is pleased with your progress. Novatech thought it would be so easy, and now the juiciest resources at the landing sites are ours. Oh, I've just noticed a mistake, and that's after a year. Are ours, and we can start laying down mining bases. But our enemy won't give up that easily. Expect them to come at us with bigger guns next time. Let's be ready for them. More combat units are on their way, and we'll look for other areas of the planet to set up on so we can keep one step ahead of Novutech. And before I go on to the Polar Expedition, we'll just have a look at this next battle. So it starts out, I won't bother reading it all, but it starts out where we've now got a mining base and a load of combat droids, and the enemy has all of this, so ground rovers, lots of combat droids, hoverbugs, so they outnumber us, but our mining base can repair the combat droids, so we have that advantage. So if we can keep our combat droids in good repair, we can start taking out the greater force. That's the idea behind this. Although when I tried a similar scenario on hard mode, I still got trounced. But we'll find out if this is balanced another day, because now it's time to look at the Polar Expedition, which is the first expansion that I released about 2 months after the main game. Or 3 months, I think it was June or July last year that this came out. So I'll stick with this difficulty level and play Avuscorp. So we'll have a new game on Polar Expedition. Right, we can see all that mobilising units and all the rest of it means that the computer's going to go first. But let's see what the briefing says. The boss is glad to see you back on Dapra. This is assuming in this scenario that you won the whole campaign at first landing. The boss is glad to see you back on Dapra. Since we blasted Novutech off the planet, we've been building a power infrastructure there. The ice caps at the polar region were more trouble than they were worth before, but now we have a reason to expand that way. Nuvatech are back on the planet, trying to take the polar area of Sanus from under our noses. In this campaign, I started naming the regions. So the boss wants you to take the area first and beat off Nuvatech's new attempt to muscle in on our patch. See to it, will you? So in Avuscorp have got very much more direct briefings than Nuvatech do. So we start with one constructor, that's the unit that's unfamiliar, and 6 hoverbugs. And they start with exactly the same, just in a different format. So I usually do this on the first battle, I make it perfectly well balanced. Not always exactly the same units, but at least equivalent units. So let's see how they go first. So reports ready to play. So they're moving their hoverbugs forwards, and that constructor is moving forwards. I know what it's going to do there. In this campaign, instead of having mining bases that are already built, it has mining stations, and you build those yourself using the constructor. So let's take my turn, and I'll do something similar. I'll move this forward by 1. You can see it highlights the build there. Where's the move? Moves there. And I've got 2 left, but you need your entire set of movement points to do a build, if I remember right. Yeah, so this is what we're going to do, but it won't let us do this till next turn. Yeah, I cannot build that unit. So wait till next turn to do it. So let's see what to do with these hoverbugs. Right, they've kept their units split. We can split our units, or we can send them all in one group. I'm tempted to send them all in one group. Or possibly, yeah, I think I'll start by sending them in one group, but I think we may have to split up, because I believe the northern group of their hoverbugs is probably heading over this way to attack what I'm about to build there, or to attack the constructor itself. There we go, that's built the mining station. So the computer player is now going to start getting 2 points per turn of resources for having that mining station on there. But they're not going to get ahead of us, or at least not by much, because I'm going to do the same. So I've still got 24 resources left. I had 56, but that's going to increase. So let's see what they did with those. Yeah, I'm not sure now if they're heading for that or whether they're just heading past it. So I will just move my hoverbugs forward. And then when I see what the enemy does, I could detach 3 of my hoverbugs and send them up against these 3. In the meantime, let's go done and see what the computer does this turn. Oh, they've sent 1 of the hoverbugs backwards to defend the mining station. But they're building more hoverbugs. So there's not much choice but to build more hoverbugs, because that's all you can build with these. So you can build mining stations, you can build hoverbugs. Yeah, I think I will send 3. I won't move 3 spaces though, I'll move 2. Because if they fire at me, it gives me a movement point that I can use to fire back. These, however, actually, yeah, I'll do the same here. I'll move forwards 2, so they can return fire if necessary. I suspect a number of these are just going to try and move right past me. And with this, I think I'll do the same as the computer's doing and build a hoverbug there. Right, let's see what the computer does next. So it looks like it is defending the crystal node with some of its hoverbugs. It's left that one only moved forward once, so it's defending that. I'm not sure about what's going on with this though. I think maybe this might be defending that. But we've got to deal with the hoverbugs that are trying to force their way past us. So one change in the computer's AI at the moment, oh yes, that comes in because they've got constructors which can mend as well as build units. What the computer's going to start to do now is if I damage their units too much, they'll retreat, as will I. But if they retreat this unit, for instance, we can maybe try and chase it home. And this unit that I built last turn can move up that way to try and intercept that if that tries to push straight past. And in the meantime, this can build another one. Oops. The aim is to get up to one or both of these and build another mining station on them so that we can get even more points. But what tends to happen is by the time you're able to do that, you've probably either won or lost the battle. Yeah, both of those are going to retreat. Since I don't think we've taken any damage this turn because everything just retreated or tried to push past us, that means that we still have a lot of units at the front. Computer's only got 2. We've got a lot of undamaged units at the front, so use these to either destroy or damage this. If it sends too many of its units back for repair, it's not going to have enough resources to actually repair them all. Ah, that's good. That's not going back for repair because it's dead. So I'll send this down there. And I'll send this toward the front. And I could, if I wanted, build another one of these. But I don't think it's necessary. I think I'll start moving this forward because if this is close behind these, they won't have far to go. Oh, hi, Lost Wolf. Yeah, it's good to have you here again. Yeah, you see, with it retreating all its units there, it's got a long way to go to send those units back here for repair. Whereas if I advance my constructor and keep it huddled behind these, they don't have to go very far to get repaired, and I can just keep pushing forward. That's the theory anyway, so let's see how that works. Well, let me just check that I did actually attack. Yes, I did. So I suspect that's going to withdraw now. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. Oh. I obviously didn't cause enough damage to it. So now while it's on that ridge, it's got the high ground. So if we look at the ridge there, it shows that, yeah, that shield at the top right there, those stats are showing that the ridge is the equivalent of 1 armor or 1 extra armor for the hoverbug. And it also only takes 1 movement point for them to move on or off there. So it's going to be a bit hard to shift this, but I shall try. I shall move those 3 against there. I will actually pull this back. Have as many units on that as possible. Yes, that's been enough to kill it. And then these 3 will tackle that. Well, that was successful. So this one can move up and join those. And this can move down there. So what's happening here is there's a lot of units going back, but it's been building a unit every turn and sending it to the front against me. So we're having this sort of little straggling collection of units coming to attack me, which is great for me because I'm just sending them all back again. So let's go done on there. If I'm lucky, I can send those units forward to that one of those crystal nodes and maybe have enough resources by the time I get there to build another mining station. Right, so those units are advancing. Those 2 are retreating. So the units that are huddled at the back there, one of them is probably healthy and it's defending that mining station. The others are going to get repaired at the constructor. Now, the computer's been building that many units with its constructor that it's probably run out of resources to repair the units that are back there. Right, so this unit was advancing, so we shall... No, that's not what I meant to do. Move forward, then attack. Move forward, then attack. And we'll just move forward once, because even if that retreats, we've still got this one to deal with. And I think what I'll do is put that there. That's not going to reach there. We'll have a nice wide front advancing there. And I think I'm safe to move that forward a bit. Actually, we're not going to have 32 points by the time I reach there. And I suspect we might end up using some for repair, but we'll see. Yeah, that one's retreating. Yeah, they're trying to get repaired at that constructor, but the constructor's not interested, probably because it's not got enough points. So we've got this here to deal with, so let's get as many units around it as I can. Right, I think what I'll do is I'll move that one down there. There we are. That leaves us 3 to deal with these 2, which aren't great odds. Oh, that one was retreating, wasn't it? So it's just 3 against 1. So I think I'm safe to move this. Let's just move it there. And then if this one does decide to advance again, it can only get there and it won't be able to fire at me because it'll have used all of its movement points. So let's done turn. So we haven't yet reached the tipping point in this battle. but we're not halfway through the time I've allotted for it yet. Oh, it did finally repair one of its units. I can't remember what that was doing, whether that was going forward or backwards. I'm going to leave these 3 there to protect that constructor, because the constructors are quite fragile units. And this can go there. Now it's on a ridge, so these hits I'm doing may not be causing much damage. If I move those there, then the constructor is still protected. And I won't move any of these forward, because that would open a path through for it to hit my constructor. I don't have enough points to build another mining station on that crystal node yet anyway. Yeah, it's gradually repairing its units, so I need to watch out for healthy units coming my way. Right, that should cause some damage to that. And now we can move these forwards. And with these 3 that are at the bottom end, we can attack that which is not on a ridge, so it's more vulnerable. And then you can move forward here, so it's protected behind these, and it's in a position to build a mining base on there in a few turns. But I'm not sure if I'll get the opportunity. I think it might. I might end up having to start spending these points on repair. Yeah, this is an IBM Model M keyboard. I also have a Model F, but it's not working at the moment. I've got it in pieces ready to clean up. The Model F is even more noisy, and probably too noisy for the stream. Yeah, this one is from, I think, 1991, so it's over 30 years old. And the Model F, I definitely want to get it cleaned up this year, because it was made in 1984, which means it's its 40th birthday this year. So I definitely want to get it working again for its 40th birthday, whether it's too noisy for the stream or not. Yeah, the Model M is lovely. Some people think it's the best, but I think it's the second best because the Model F is nicer. Model F has an odd layout. It's got the function keys down the side, and it's only got 10 of them. And it's got the one thing I like about it is the Model F has control next to the letter A, like Mother Nature intended. And the weird thing is the escape key is on the numeric keypad. Yeah, originally I had an IBM XT, and it had the XT Model F, which is slightly different to the AT Model F I've got now, because the XT Model F had the numeric keypad was in the same block as the main keys. It was odd, there was no separation. But the AT Model F has got proper separation between the numeric keypad and the main keyboard. Still no separate cursor keys though. Right, so let's see if anybody is damaged. Not yet. Right, this is running away after I attacked it. But it's nice to see that none of these have gone around the corner. Maybe the damage is keeping them next to that. I'll very soon be able to have a go at that constructor, but I don't want to risk it yet. Let's get rid of some of the support first. Actually, having said that, yeah, I think I can afford to start doing that. And these can just chase that back. The thing I've got to be careful of is that once I destroy the constructor, it'll no longer have a reason to retreat these damaged hoverbugs, and it'll just go on an all-out attack against me. So I need to be careful about that, because then my constructor becomes vulnerable. Yeah, that's a mistake I made as well, is I sold my original XT, and I'd love to have had an XT now. I sold the XT for £50 to pay a phone bill back in 1994, and it'll cost me about 10 times that to pick up another one. Right, so it's destroyed a few things. Oh, it's destroyed the hoverbug that I cheekily put right up there next to it. So I'll continue slogging away at this hoverbug. Yes. And then this can attack that, and I'll just keep sending my hoverbugs against that. Yes, that's gone. But now that is going to try and attack this constructor. So, yeah, when I sold my XT, I already had a 386. In fact, I had two 386s, because I bought one from the place that I worked second hand. And they gave me a 386SX that they had no use for. Yeah, they were really nice machines. I had an IBM PS2 Model 80, the big tower machines that were built like a tank. And the machine they gave me was a Model 65SX, which had been left at the company by a customer who no longer wanted it. So they gave it to me thinking it'd be useful for spares, but given that IBM PS2 machines are proprietary and not always compatible with one another, yeah, the 65SX wasn't useful for spares, but it was useful as a second machine. I ran a bulletin board on that while the PS2 Model 80 was my main computer. Gorgeous machine that was. I gave both of those away as well. Yeah, they were all really good. I did work experience because I was at college at the time. I did work experience at a local company that standardised on PS2s. This was way before I got one myself, and they had PS2 Model 65. Sorry, not Model 65. Model 55SX, which was the desktop version of the 65SX that I got later, and it was a lovely machine to use, a little 386SX, and they put me on some make work. They got me to catalogue all the computers that they had, all the PCs. And one of the PCs was a Model 80, and I drooled over the specification of that thing, 386DX. It had 300 megabyte hard drive. Lovely thing. And I thought, well, I'd love to have something like that. And then, how many years later? 2 years later, actually, it wasn't that long. I had one myself. And at the time, that 300 megabyte hard drive was about 3 times bigger than anyone else I knew, because it was just it was a server-sized hard drive. My friends were getting 486s, faster machines than mine, but with like 105 megabyte hard drives. So it was nice to have that 386. Well, I think everything's moved. Yeah, and I eventually gave them away, because by the time I gave those away, I had a Pentium class machine, also full tower. I used to love full towers. And yeah, I hadn't used the PS2s in ages, and I was about to move across the country. So which across the country here I know isn't as far as across the country means to Australians or Americans, but I was going to move across the country, and when I switched on I can't remember what was wrong with the 65SX. I think it came up with an error message. And the Model 80, it would switch on, it would work fine for 2 minutes, then the power supply would spark and it would switch itself off. So I gave them both to a colleague who was more electronically minded than me. And I don't know if he ever did anything with him, but he probably did more with them than I would have done, because I'm a 100% software guy. So I wouldn't have known what to do. And this was before eBay, because this was in about 2001 I moved away. No, it was 2000, that's right. And yeah, the power supply was 2000. It was probably a simpler repair for somebody who knows what they're doing, but I didn't. And yeah, I've kept machines like that before, and they've just gathered dust until I've finally given them away. So I gave them to him. And yeah, I had multiple machines by then. I had the Pentium, and I think that's the only one I kept. But I also had a bunch of compact 486s, and I'm not sure if I ever did anything with them, apart from booting them up to see if they worked. I don't know why I collected all this. Oh, and I had a Spark Station as well, which I used to host a website. So I thought I can afford to give these machines away, because I'm not going to do anything with them. Yeah, notice it's not retreating at all now. But the only machine that I regret, well, that's not the only machine, but the only of the machines that I've talked about so far that I regret letting go of was the XT. That's because that's the spec of machine I'm developing for now. Right, think about what I'm doing here, because I've got these two up at the top, which I probably need to keep these 4 against. Yeah, that was the thing. I probably didn't. I was a student when I sold that XT, and yeah, it was a case of struggle to pay the phone bill or just take the easy option. The guy I sold it to, I think he was still a kid at the time, he was one of the people who used to use my bulletin board. And he was after a PC, so I thought, yeah, better it goes to him. I'd upgraded it quite a bit as well. It started out life with MDA displays, so no graphics at all, just text mode. And I'd upgraded it to have a Hercules card. It started life with no hard drive, and it was a 30 meg hard drive I added, but the controller was old and could only use 10 megabytes of it. So it was effectively a 10 megabyte hard drive, which was enough for that machine. And my next, if I'd had it now, I think it also obviously had the monochrome monitor. If I had it now, I would probably go for one of these. Is it Paradise? No, it's not Paradise. Who was it who built the CGA cards that? Well, it was in one of those, they call it any mode on any monitor cards. ATI, that was it. It's I can't remember the name of the card, but it would do CGA, it would do Hercules, it would do CGA on a Hercules monitor, and it would also make a good attempt at doing a Hercules resolution on a CGA monitor using interlace. But my idea is, if I ever get hold of an IBM PC with a mono monitor, I'd look for one of these cards so that I could do CGA on the green screen, and then look out for a decent CGA monitor in the meantime. But all that's a long way off. Right, so I think that's everything moved. Oh, and this, on the next turn, I can afford to build another mining station. But as you can see, it's going to be almost redundant, because it's got 2 hoverbugs and 1 mining station left. And it's not, the mining station is completely redundant to it, because it's generating resources that it can't use. Yeah, I was never a fan of amber back in the day, because apart from the fact green is my favourite colour, I just used to find them depressing. We had them at college, and yeah, I didn't like the colour, and I didn't have any nostalgia for them. Whereas I loved my green screen, just partly because I love the colour, and also it was one of these persistent phosphor ones where it takes ages for the display to fade away, which is bad for action games, but I was never really into action games. Right, I think I've done everything for this turn. Yeah, I used to play things like SimCity. Once I got the graphics upgrade, yeah, SimCity on it. My brother used to play Populous. And before that, of course, when I had the text-only display, I was playing a lot of things like Rogue and Kingdom of Cross and stuff like that on there. Right, that's got rid of that. So I think just to flex, I will build another mining station. And then the rest of these units can start heading forwards to this. I won't move right up next to it because it'll get the first shot in at me. But all of this. Yeah, I'm starting to build up a catalogue of them. I'll share it with you at some point. Of all the text mode games. And it's specifically text mode games that will work on an IBM, not necessarily IBM, MDA display. Because there are quite a few text mode games. I mean, there are a lot of 40-column games that wouldn't work on a monochrome card. But there are even some 80-column games that actually set the screen mode to colour, or they'd write directly into the memory where the colour display was, not work on monochrome, even though there was no reason why such a game shouldn't work on a monochrome text display. But I've been collecting, let me just see, I've got my browser up. I don't have my stream set up to show you at the moment, but yeah, MDA games, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 8. These are just links to places where I could get them. I haven't actually installed them all. 14, 16, 18, 19 at the moment. I also wrote 4 myself when I had that MDA machine, but they're nothing to write home about. Oh, I just noticed one of my hoverbugs is damaged. Is it this one? No. Right, so this, I'll remember next turn, if Streamer Brain doesn't get me, that this should retreat back to the constructor. Yes, I found a list of 19, and I don't think that encompasses all the ones that I used to play. I think I've forgotten some of the ones I used to play. The only ones I could think of at the moment were Rogue, Kingdom of Cross. There was also the game with no name, but I can't remember if that was the one that still needed a colour adapter. Right, so this should return here. This should repair. And now all of these should intersect. Well, maybe half of these should intersect that. Castle Adventure, I don't know that one, unless that's the unless that's a name for the original Will Crowther text adventure. I used to be into text adventures back in the 8-bit days when I was a kid, but I didn't really keep my enthusiasm for them once I got into more graphical games, especially things like strategy and RPG stuff. Now, I'm more interested in text adventures than I am in action games, but yeah, I found them a bit of effort having to maintain your own maps and things like that. Oh, right, so it's actually a graphical game that uses ASCII rather than a text adventure. I'll have to check that one out. I'd even like to get back into developing them, but at the moment I've got a big list of CGA projects that I'd like to do. Right, this didn't attack anything, so there's nothing that needs repair. So I think what I'm going to do is move this. Actually, no, I won't bother with that. It's not going to get a chance to build another mining station. It's yeah, I'll have won the game before that happens. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. I may actually just move it a little bit out of the way just to avoid this going for it. This, I imagine, is going to go 1, 2, 3 next turn. So I really need to make sure I destroy it next turn. And these, you know what, I'll take a risk. This first one is going to get, oh, it had the mining base fire back at it. Oh, that was easier than I thought it would be. Okay, so this can move back there and then hit that. And yeah, in a little bit, hopefully I can just destroy this and in perfect time to move on to the Waterworld campaign. Yeah, I used to like that, but yeah, nowadays, even an ASCII RPG like a roguelike, it's drawing the map for you, it's a lot easier to play, you make a lot more progress. I did try a text adventure about a couple of years ago because a friend bought one for me from Itch, and the map was actually quite confusing because it wasn't grid-based at all. So I ended up drawing a map as I went along, and then I found things were connected together that were nowhere near each other on the map, and it started to be a mess, and I gave up. I'll just check that I've moved everything here. That has got a move left, but there's nothing to do with the move. That's fine, there's nothing down here, I'm just ignoring this now. So let's go, don't turn, yes. Yeah, I never found the mapping interesting. It was okay when it didn't take that much effort, like when it was like a nice simple grid of a map, and you didn't have to redraw it when things got messy. Right, come on, let's finish this off this turn. Yay! Right, excellent. Nubitech thought they could just take part of our planet from us, did they? You've taught them a lesson at Senus Plain, but they're unlikely to give up, so the boss wants you to stay there while we develop the site to build up its infrastructure. We'll also build up our supply of military units suitable for the cold polar conditions, so we're better equipped to handle any future trouble. We'll get back to you if and when Nubitech gives us any further trouble. Which of course they will, because this is only the first battle. But I'll show you the next battle, because this campaign has something that the previous one didn't. If we look at this map now, it's exactly the same place. We've got this exact same ridge in the way here. And there's nothing much else on the map to distinguish it, but you take my word for it that the rocks and things are all in the same place as before. It's exactly the same place. But this time we have some infrastructure. And yeah, it's assumed that we built mining stations on both of those after we took the place, but not that one. And yeah, we've got buildings and things now. And 2 constructors, because I'll let the... okay, the computer isn't moving first this time. But I won't take any turns, I won't play this because I'm about to move on to Waterworld. But this time we can build combat droids, hoverbugs, as well as mining stations. And combat droids can take refuge in these buildings. And these buildings have quite a high protection for combat droids. I think it's 3. So in this battle, I mean, you start with next to nothing, so you end up building up a force of combat droids. And usually, I mean, there's a different strategy you can take for this. You can build up combat droids, huddle in here and wait for the enemy to come. But if you do that, you'll probably lose both of these. Or the other thing you can do is start building the faster units, the hoverbugs. Try sending them out there to defend at least one of these. You've got no chance of defending both. And yeah, it makes it a lot different, because that's why I started naming the places, because the briefing can tell you you're in the same place, just with more infrastructure. And there's quite a few battles in the sequence like that, where you beat the enemy at a particular place where there's nothing there, and then the next turn you've got your infrastructure there. Or of course, if you lose, then you see the enemy's got infrastructure. So yeah, that's how the polar expedition works. And some of the bigger units you've got later, you've got tanks, the same kind of tanks as you've got in the desert, but they just happen to have skis on. And What else is there? Oh, you've got big gun platforms, which again you have in the desert. In the desert campaign, they're fixed immobile units, whereas in this one you can build monorail. Well, you don't build monorails. You can have monorails on your base, and then the gun platforms, like big howitzers, can travel on the monorail. It's really good, but it'd take us quite a while to get to the later scenarios. So for now, I'll go new game. This game automatically saves, by the way, if you go new game, there's that you can just go straight back in where you left off. No, not in this. The engine doesn't support building terrain, it only supports building units. So the building is all like in the story, where you just progress from one battle to the next, and there the infrastructure is. Something similar happens in Waterworld, but it's not quite as pronounced because this is on a bigger scale. So I think again I'll play Avuscorp, because I think what I'll do is when I come back and do a full playthrough of these campaigns, I'll play as Nuvutech instead. So the Waterworld campaign, there's no water on, no oceans on Dapra. This is at Dalen, the neighbouring planet in the system. I haven't mapped out the whole star system yet. I'm just making up planets as I go along when I create new content. And at some point, just to add flavour, I might do a solar system map once I've done a few more expansions. So here we go, there's an ocean planet, Dalen, in the same system as Dapra. Nuvutech are poking around there, and the boss thinks they've found something. She's dispatched some surface ships to see what's going on and to get in Nuvutech's way. Our ships have come face to face with a Nuvutech patrol. The boss would be really happy if you could cause some trouble for them, say by wiping out their entire fleets. It's a good idea to make the boss happy. Those who make her unhappy usually regret it. Beware. You probably get the idea that this company is more like some kind of mob with a crime boss in charge of it. Whereas Nuvutech, when you see their briefings, they're all sort of stilted corporate, going on about corporate strategy and things like that. Yeah, I thought it'd make an interesting change. And in the original campaign, I don't think it mentions that until about 2 or 3 battles in, so you get to make the assumption, and it gets overturned. So let's see what the computer's done. It'll probably just be advancing. And the cruisers are ranged units. I don't think this campaign is quite as successful as Polar Expedition. Just the engine doesn't really suit it quite as well. But it works. These crystal nodes are assumed to be under the sea. And we'll see if, well, we will get through to the following battle, but I won't play through it. You'll see there's mining boats that are like kind of drilling boats. They're assumed to drill down somehow and access these crystal nodes at the bottom of the sea. So all we're doing now, there's no what do you call them? I wrote the game, I can't remember what they're called. There's no victory positions in this, it's just straight wipe out the enemy kind of battle. So the strategy in this, and there isn't much strategy in this first battle, is just try and keep formation, keep cruisers out of direct line of fire if you can, for as long as possible. And also there's a lot of square counting, making sure that they can't get the first hit in. Yeah, I thought a female crime boss would be a good addition. Have I? Yeah, I've moved these short, but that's fine. Yeah, they can move 4, so next turn these are going to move there and not be able to fire. Yeah, a lot of clicking, and no mouse control in these games. Because the original IBM PC of 1981 didn't have a mouse, and that's a really good excuse to cover the fact that I can't be bothered to implement mouse control. Because it really does make the development a lot more difficult. So these are going to foolishly move right up to my battle line. Oh, they're actually spreading out a little. Yeah, I wasn't really involved in PCs much back at the time. I didn't really get to use them until about 1990. But even in 1990, like the computers at college didn't have mice, apart from the newest ones with the fancy VGA display that had Windows installed. All the XTs and the 286s were. I don't think they had them. Actually, I might be wrong. Yeah, I might be wrong because I think they ran PageMaker on these. But my computer, when I got mine, I didn't get a mouse with it, and it was quite a while before I got a mouse. But I should really do what I'm not doing now and concentrate fire, because the computer's not going to retreat, because it's not going to retreat. It's got nowhere to retreat to at the moment if I damage the unit. So I think what I'll do is, at least with the cruisers, I'll concentrate fire on this. I still didn't destroy it. There's a lot of grind in this this first battle. Yeah, the reason I say the engine doesn't work as well with this is the one thing you've not got is any kind of protected terrain in the sea. It's just not a part of this this campaign. Yeah, I remember installing the driver. It wasn't too difficult for me. The mouse I got was this cheap Taiwanese thing where the manual was barely English. I'm sure you've read the kind of thing, and it was quite funny in parts. And yeah, it was. But the driver works fine. I think you could generally interchange drivers as well. So I think there was a driver that came with later versions of DOS that generally works with any serial mouse. Right, what should I do about these that have broken through? I'm not sure what these destroyers are trying to do here, unless they're all trying to get to the cruisers. So I'll pull the cruisers back for now. In fact, maybe this isn't that good an idea, but whatever, we'll give it a go. And I'll leave that one there, although I think it's going to get hit by those two. And I think I should start having a go at these cruisers. And then I'll take my own advice from last turn and concentrate my fire. Yes. And I'll leave that cruiser behind, and I could either go for one of these. Yeah, I think I better go for one of these because this little group here is more dangerous, the one that's behind me, than the one that's behind. So we'll do that. Yeah, I didn't have WordPerfect, but we used it at college. I preferred WordStar myself. And just because WordStar was a little bit more friendly, if a bit less powerful. And I think some of the keys in WordStar were more standard. I mean, WordStar set the standard, but things like F1 for help and stuff like that. So I've lost a destroyer, but I've still got all of my cruisers. Yeah, I thought those destroyers were going for my cruisers. Yeah, I tended to use the free, well, free in quotes, shareware stuff. They did use, as well as WordPerfect, they did have a shareware word processor at, yeah, it was. it was expensive, although to many of the students at the time that wasn't an issue. In fact, some of the lecturers were giving away software that ought not to have been given away as well. Right, question is, can I move on to there and still have movement points left to fire? Yes, I can, because it's at the bottom of the sea, Damien, so it's not going to impede my movements. Right, we'll have a go at that. Oh yeah, this cruise is a little bit damaged as well. And so is that one. And that's already fired. Yeah, I admired it, especially later on when I saw how much it could do. And the fact that when a new word processor, like when Word for Windows and things like that came out, they all needed like 286, 386 to do the same job as WordPerfect would do on my little XT, albeit more friendly. Yeah, the 90s were a difficult time if you were on a budget for computing, because it seemed like every year you'd spend about, over here, what would be about £500, or I think back then that was about $750. And the US, I can't remember how much, I think it'd be about $1,000 Australian dollars back then. You'd have to spend that every year just to keep your computer up to date. To have a chance of walking into a shop and buying something that would run on it. And yeah, I kind of resented that when I was a poor student, then even poorer unemployed afterwards. But I was lucky, I got into the bulletin board scene. And while I was at college, I can't remember where the games came from when I was at college, but there were things like Rogue and Kingdom of Crows and all that kind of thing before I got the graphics card that were all entertaining. Because I liked programming as much as I liked playing the games, so I was... Can I move this here? No, I can't move that there at all. I can't move the cruiser into the shallows. So the cruiser is going to have to move... It's still got 3 points. I'm going to move it there. And I'm going to have a really good effort at destroying that cruiser. Oh, that cruiser is... I think that's the one that I hadn't fired on yet. Yeah, well, things move faster, but the strange thing is you can get away with keeping a PC for a lot longer now. The PC I'm streaming on now is 10 years old, and I have... Oh, I'm trying to move the enemy units here. I have upgraded it, but I've not upgraded the processor. The processor's still a dual-core i3 thing, 3rd generation i3. The graphics card I only upgraded a couple of years ago. Was it a couple of years ago? It might have been last year. Yeah, this is a 2014. It's not a branded PC. It's one that was built by an electronics shop over here, Maplin. And they sold it to me without a hard drive. It was a display model. They sold it cheap without a hard drive, and I was going to use it. It's got a really odd-shaped case. It's I don't know, about this. Let's see if you can see my actual hands. Yeah, it's about this wide, about this tall, but it's about nearly 2 foot, half a metre deep, front to back. And my idea was that it would go downstairs. I'm upstairs now in my playroom, which functions as a spare bedroom. And I thought, for when I've got guests, instead of having a server up in this room, I'd have it downstairs, stick it under a chair. So I got it with that weird shaped case. And in the time it took me to get around to buying and fitting a hard drive to it, I ended up buying a Raspberry Pi. And somebody gave me a 1 terabyte hard drive. So I ended up buying an external hard drive case Yeah, my server downstairs ended up being the Raspberry Pi sat on top of a 1 TB hard drive, leaving this machine free to be my main PC. So I ended up buying a 500 gig hard drive for it. Yeah, it served me really well. It's running Linux, which means it's not quite as susceptible to the passage of time as a Windows machine would be, sort of specification-wise. Let's check whether I moved everything. No, that hasn't moved. What's that? That's a destroyer. I think that can have a go at... That can have a go at this cruiser. Oh, it's nearly dead. I've got a feeling I'm not going to win this one. Yeah, so it's done really well, and the only things I've upgraded is it came with 4 gigs of RAM, and I upgraded that to 16. And it had onboard graphics, which I've added for my birthday. Actually, a friend of mine very generously gave me the money for a graphics card of my choice, so I bought a NVIDIA GTX 1650, which is the best graphics card I could get for £100. And it's worked really well. I got that for Minecraft so that I could keep up, because this machine, without it, it was managing 30 frames a second eventually. And the performance of this machine on Minecraft, which I used to play a lot, it would start out as about 3 or 4 frames while it was loading all the textures, and I'd just sit and wait for 30 seconds while it loaded all the textures it needed, and it would gradually get up to like 15, 20, 30 frames. But with the graphics card in, it starts at about 30 and goes up to, to 100 now. So it will probably manage shaders on Minecraft, but I haven't tried it yet. Because I've been that much into game development lately, I've not had that much time for Minecraft. I used to play on like 2, 3, sometimes more servers at a time. And now there's no way I could keep that up. Oh, I've managed to kill a cruiser. Right, there's 2 more cruisers to have a go at, but I think what I'll do is I'll start by swinging this cruiser around there and taking pot shots at the destroyers as I go. And the same with this one, I'll start moving towards that cruiser, but have a go at a destroyer. Right, that's moved. Yeah, my odds aren't looking that good here, because I noticed now that I've lost a cruiser on the way, because we started with 3 each, so my victory against that cruiser wasn't quite the exciting moment I thought it was. Yeah, it's just a case of not having enough hours in the day, especially with dialysis now. Yeah, I'm on dialysis 3 times a week for 4 hours at a time, and yeah, I can't play Minecraft there, but I can do game development. Done turn. Destroy the destroyer. Ooh, 3 destroyers destroyed. Yeah, I still enjoy playing Minecraft, but I haven't played it for... Actually, I'll tell you that. I was going to say I haven't played it for months. I have. I've been on my single-player world, but at the moment, I've got nothing against Minecraft. Oh, I lost a cruiser. I've got nothing against Minecraft, but whenever I load Minecraft, I play for about half an hour, and then that's enough. Right, so I'm going to lose this battle, which means I will get to play a bit of the next one, because I've got quite a while left. I don't want to finish early. Right, that's everything moved. So, done turn. I did actually add a surrender option to this game, but it caused me that much trouble that I took it out again. Since then, I mean, it was like crashing and things. It wasn't just logic errors. It was crashing, and I was developing under DOS, which doesn't have very good debugging tools. So I never managed to find out what was wrong, so I just took the feature out. Nowadays, I actually develop under Linux, and I've got really good debugging tools to use in Linux, where memory leaks and things like that are so easy to find. And it still loses. So it still carries on moving when it's won, which is an oversight. Oh, so this is my debriefing. Fool, you've let Nouveau Tech get a foothold on this planet now. They're probably going to establish a base on Ithril Island. That's the big red island up there. I've lost my place. Based on Ithril Island, and they'll be difficult to shift from there. The boss isn't going to be happy about this when she finds out, but we need to move fast, so you're probably safe for now. We'll get some more ships down to the surface as quick as we can. For now, stay out of trouble. Keep an eye on what Novatech gets up to. We'll talk again when the ships are... Asgen. There's another misprint. When the ships are deployed down there. Right, and then this is has the same kind of thing as happened in Polar Expedition. So we've got... not proper infrastructure, but we've got a port city now. And they're building land units, and it appears that that's all we've got. So they outnumber us, but they are using land units, and we have 3 cruisers that can sit offshore out of the way of the land units. The only units they're in danger from are these planes. So, and they can build as can they build? Maybe not. They might only be able to repair. We'll see. If they can build, it'll build something now with this port city. But yeah, I've got time to play through this, although I won't necessarily finish this. Given how that first battle went, I maybe should have been on easy. Let's have a look at some of these things. So they didn't build anything, so I suspect they I wrote this myself, but I can't remember now. I assume I must have made this repair only with no building. So yeah, there's a port. Avuscorp's ports look different. I decided to do 2 different city designs. That's supposed to look like a city with like skyscrapers and things there. I don't think you can build them at all in this campaign. I think ports are the only things that can build, and ports can't build ports. So yeah, we've got the planes and stuff coming for me. That when it can build, it can, like the other things, it can build into adjacent squares. So I think, right, these can move 6 squares. So these can move 3, I think. So we can't move within firing distance of these planes. So I think what I'm going to do is either stay where I am or retreat a little, because planes can move 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I can't retreat far because we're at the edge of the map. Okay, scrub that then. I think what I'll do is I'll leave all of my units exactly where they are, so that they can return fire when the fighters come for them. I'm just thinking about alternatives. The alternative is to start moving these ships around the island. Now, if I draw the planes away from the land where these hoverbugs can't follow, these hoverbugs can actually go above the shallows, they just can't go into deep water. So I think what I'm going to do is move these down there. Now some of the fighters will come and attack them. But hopefully they'll survive, because the fighters, they've just got 2 attack. They're not very strong. They've got 2 range, so I probably won't be able to return fire if it puts a fighter there and hits a destroyer. But my destroyer has 4 hit points, so they're not going to one-shot me with the fighters. It's also got 1 armour. Oh, that's movement points. I saw the 1 out of 4 and was thinking it was hit points. So yeah, I think that's a good strategy there, to move those down there. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Now, if they send all the fighters against the same destroyer, they maybe would have a chance of killing it. But they didn't. More fool them. So yeah, we've got pretty good odds here. Yeah, that has been damaged quite a bit, but we've got no way of repairing, so my strategy, I think, is to try my best to take out as many of these units as I can. There we go. Yeah, I can occasionally one-shot them. Let's see if I can one-shot this. No, I cannot, but if I bring the cruiser up there, the cruiser has 3 attack points. That's got a very good chance of taking that out. And cruisers have also got a good chance at one-shotting planes. Yeah, that plane didn't have any prior hits on it. Right, this one will probably take out that. Yeah, so they're left with 1 fighter there. Oh, 2. Well, that one appears to be defending the port. So if we... Oh, I'll just check to see if anything hasn't moved. I think everything's moved. Yes. I can see those moving out over the islands, so retreating down here was a good idea. Although if I move these destroyers within range of that, then they're also within range of these. I think that's a risk I'm willing to take. Although what I should have done first is just try to one-shot it with a cruiser. But never mind, that didn't work. So hopefully that should be enough to take it out. No, it's quite hardy, is this this fighter. I'm not going to get that destroyer involved. I'm going to take that destroyer down there. And that cruiser will follow it as long as this cruiser manages to take out that fighter. Yes. So these 2 are going along there to deal with that fighter and then take out the port city. So let's check that everything's moved. I should remember that everything's moved when I've only got 6 units. Yeah, that destroyer took damage. Is that the destroyer that was already damaged? No, I think that was the one that took the hits before. So I'm actually going to ignore these hover bugs. If I move this there, I'm not going to fire at it. Actually, yeah, I will fire at it with this. I was wary about doing so because I knew it would fire back, but I'd rather that take the hits than the destroyer. There we go. Right, so these, I'll speed this away. Now that fighter's out of the way, this destroyer isn't going to be much use for anything with 1 hit. Oh, excuse me, but I might sacrifice it later. This cruiser, that cruiser's got 4 hit points. This cruiser can follow the rest. And this cruiser can follow on more slowly and take pot shots at these as it goes past. Let's see if it withdraws anything for repair. It's difficult to tell whether it's withdrawing that for... No, it's not withdrawing that for repair because I didn't hit that one. That's going back to defend the port. Right, I'm going to be careful about this. This might be a sacrifice because this is going to come and attack that. In fact, all of these destroyers are in pretty low health. So that one can stand off from the coast. In fact, what I could do is move this down there. Fire at that. This one's only got 3 movement points, so if I move it there, it won't be able to fire. What I could maybe do is move it down there. Fire at that. Yes, that was successful. And I'll move this there. And these can only move 3, so it can move down next to these, but it can't shoot at them. So I think that's everything moved that I want to move. I wasn't expecting that, although perhaps I should have expected that. Huh, it didn't cause any damage though. So I think what I'm going to do is move this back one. This is a bit of a delicate dance actually. This needs to move there. That goes over there. You can fire at the ports. Move that there and move this back, and then these destroyers can keep those hoverbugs entertained. Meanwhile, these can sail slowly along and bombard the hoverbugs from offshore. So let me just double check that everything's moved. Yes. Oh, good. That injured destroyer kept its life. So that can just move out of the way. Fire at this. These can be firing at that. Maybe that wasn't the best idea because that one can't now get in to fire at that. But if I move that out one, then this can go over there and fire at that. And then this can then move back in one and fire at that. There we go. So all the computer has left is that, and it can't build anything. So now I'm going to risk these, but not that one first, because that's only got 1 point left. I'll use the ones with 2 points. Slide in there. The city only has 1 range, I think. Yeah, 1 range. That's the crosshairs there, which is why it's not been firing back at this cruiser. Right, this can just get out of the way, I think. Maybe go around there and down there. It can't move onto there. There are ships that can move onto there. The mining boats can move through there, but nothing else can. Oh, we didn't see any mining boats in this, did we? In fact, once I've won this, we may well see mining boats in the next battle, which I think I'll have time to just look at. Right, it's probably going to destroy one of my destroyers. No. Although it is down to 1 hit point now. Yes. That's better. New route export and defending forces are destroyed, and their setback has put us on an even footing. They still have naval forces on the planet though, so we need to take care of them before we start establishing our own ports on Dalen. We don't want to make the same mistake as New Tech did, establishing a port without the proper defences. Our cruisers will need a refit, but we have more destroyers on the way. Take a breather, and when the destroyers arrive, we'll contact you again. That's my excuse for not having cruisers in the next battle, I believe. Oh, this is just a sea battle by the look of it. Yeah, so no mining boats on this, and I'm not going to fight all the way through this because it's almost 9 PM here, and that's the time I'll stop. It's a work night. It's a work day tomorrow and a dialysis night, so I've got lunch and dinner to prepare, and getting things ready for it. So because I basically, apart from when I'm on the machine at dialysis, I have no free time. So I'm going to call it there. And thank you very much for joining me. If you hang around a little bit longer, I will see if there is a retro streamer I can raid. And I will put us on. In fact, I shall look at this now while he's still here with me. See who is here. Oh, there isn't a retro streamer, but there is somebody who I like to watch quite a bit. And you may not know him, Lady Vivian, but you'll know where I met him because he was on the Pulsars Junior Patreon at the same time as we were, but I don't think he played Minecraft. So, yeah, thanks very much, Lost Wolf. Thanks very much for joining us. It was good fun having a little playthrough of this. I'm not sure what I'll do next week, or if I'll stream. I'll definitely stream on the Sunday, health permitting, but I'll try and maybe fit in a stream on Tuesday and or Thursday, which is what I usually try to do. We'll see how things go, and I'll probably play one of my other games then. So, yeah, so I'm going to raid Director Music. So if you wouldn't mind hanging on for a minute or two, I'll just go on to the ending page and send you along to Director Music. Thank you very much, and I shall hopefully see you again soon.
Dropping on people like Batman. And I just shot there at the ceiling because there is a guard that has been